don't know. Still undecided.
It's pretty hard to look at, right? It's okay to be undecided, but it's not okay to stay undecided. It's either being pro-life is a violation of women's rights or being pro-choice is a human rights violation, like against these unborn children. So if we're looking at that, do we think that's a human being? Biology tells us yes. We know that from fertilization, it has human parents. It is an entire organism that's living, displaying the signs of life. So if abortion is killing them via poisoning, starvation, or dismemberment, we have to think about like what are the reasons that make that okay? Is it because they're dependent on the mother? Is it because, they're too young to really think for themselves? Or, what is it? Those are conversations worth having and questions worth asking ourselves. So have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I think about it a lot.
Okay, yeah, well, I
definitely go back and forth.
Okay. I think that that's normal because, it's easy to see, suffering on both sides. It's easy to see, women going through really hard things and having genuine compassion for them and, wanting to do anything to ease the burden of what she's going through. And then it's also, I think pretty easy to see, the suffering of these babies. I don't know if you've ever heard of Justice for the Five, but in Washington, D.C., abortion's legal through all 9 months. And they recovered a box of 115 aborted babies. And some of them were first trimester, some of them were very, very developed, past viability. And you can see that they were killed via having their skulls crushed, being dismembered. And I know my friends were the ones who held those babies in their arms. So we think about, it's easy to see that this is clearly an act of violence. But we know that it's such a hard thing to think about because women, pregnancy is not easy. Even if you want kids, it's not easy.
Yeah.
So how do we reconcile those two things, right? It's easy for us to say as a result, let's just stick ourselves in the middle because we want to care about these people and we also want to care about these people. And I would say I think that's a compassionate place that you're coming from, and I get that. But I think staying in the middle, there's some bad ethical implications for staying in the middle. If you're staying in the middle, then you could be infringing on women's rights and trying to control their bodies in certain circumstances. Or if you're staying in the middle, you could be allowing and justifying the violent killing of human beings. So we gotta kind of think about these, right? So would you say that all human beings deserve human rights?
Yes.
Okay. So we wouldn't say that only the strongest human beings or only the human beings that are fully developed. We know there are so many people born walking around who are less developed than we are, who have different backgrounds from us, but we know that they deserve to be protected just as much as we do. We walk around, we're not perfect human beings. We have weaknesses, we have stuff in our past that wasn't cool, but for somebody to come up and inflict violence on us, that's wrong. And we as a society have a responsibility to restrict those kinds of behaviors. I can swing my arm around wherever I want, that's my choice, my right, but as soon as I smash it into your face, then I've infringed on your rights.
Yeah.
So if we think about abortion as it's using our bodies to inflict lethal harm, lethal violence onto another human being, what makes that okay? How do we justify that? Does that kind of
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I'll conclude my thoughts more.